All right, let's talk some good football, not what we just talked about in the last segment. The Detroit Lions. Lions fans, I got a question to ask you. If you've been watching the game, and I know you have, you've known it's a mass unit out there. Injury after injury after injury. The D-line just appears to get decimated. I just read that, 3 of the people did not practice today.
Reader didn't practice yesterday. I don't know if he practiced today or not.
Sounds like it's trending towards you're going to be missing a lot of people on the defensive end, especially on the defensive line in the Thursday night game against Green Bay. Lions fan, the question is simple. Have all the recent injuries changed your feelings about this team? Meaning, it was you got to get the number 1 seed. You're going to get the number 1 seed. We're going all the way to the Super Bowl. With the rash of injuries, do you still feel the same confidence about your Detroit Lions, or have you lowered the bar a little bit? Not to say that this team's horrible, but you know what? Maybe this team with this defense isn't good enough to win the Super Bowl. Or maybe we're not good enough to get the number 1 seed overall. 248-539-9797, because your offense can score like nobody's business. But if you cannot stop teams, and you're about to play some tough teams coming up, especially the next 2 games, you're going to be a little bit of a trouble. So for Lions fans out there, has the rash of injuries changed how you feel about the direction of where this team is going this year? Stoney?
Yeah, it has, because I do not expect them to win both the next 2 games. And except for Philadelphia's game with Pittsburgh, which is a home game for them, I think the Eagles will probably surpass them, let alone the Vikings. I don't want to have to play the Vikings the last game of the season with the North on the line. And then if they lose Thursday, they're only a game ahead of the Packers. It's not a lack of faith in coaching staff. It's not a lack of faith in the team as a whole. It's just do the math. Great teams. Teams, and the Lions are a really good team. 3 weeks ago, I thought they were the best team in the National Football League. I don't think so anymore. And why? Because they've been decimated. Just look at who started defensively from the beginning of the season. Hutch, gone. Davenport, gone. Pascal, who was a key reserve, gone. Uzarike started, gone. Let's keep going. Anzalone, gone. Rodriguez, gone.
Reader.
Eric
Barnes,
gone.
Right. Reader's going to be back.
Right, but I'm just saying, but
right.
Injured
at times, yes. But the other ones, they could be gone for the playoffs too. So, yeah, I know the whole next man up. I get all that, and that's been really...
But after a while, you start running out of next man.
Right. I give Holmes credit for the guys that he went and acquired this week. Jamar Adams, does he have something left?
You bring him in to be a linebacker.
Yeah.
He was a safety.
I know.
This is how desperate you are.
Because thankfully your safeties are really, really good.
Right.
But yes, they've gotten some really good contributions from people you wouldn't expect. Mohammed, they got players. They're going to have to, score 40 points a game, maybe. And you can't live off of that. So, no, I don't expect them. I never expected them to go 16-1. If they go, 13-4, would it be the worst thing in the world to go 2-3 in the last 5 games? I don't know.
Well, just to put things in perspective, doing research with Rieger this morning, hypothetically speaking, they lose to Green Bay. How quickly things will change. They lose to Green Bay, and I think Philly is playing the Carolina Panthers, and they beat the Panthers. Mm-hmm. You're now the number 2 seed.
Right.
Because you're tied with Philly, but Philly would have the tiebreaker. Philly now becomes the number 1 seed. You're the number 2 seed.
Right.
And, you hold the tiebreaker over Minnesota. So, yes, that's the only thing, which means that if you played in the NFC title game, if the season were to end, you would have to go to Philly to play. With the rash of injuries, I'm with you. I look at this team. I didn't think they were ever going to go 16-1.
No, me
but
neither.
The problem is how quickly and if you're going to be getting people back on the defensive side. That's the big key, because when it comes to the playoffs, offenses are great in the regular season, but it's a reason why the Miami Dolphins never win the Super Bowl. They look great. They look fun. But if you can't stop anybody, I'm looking at like the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow puts up tons of stats. They can't stop anybody.
No.
And if you get to the point where teams realize, you know what, you can't stop. When I look at, man, if Chicago had a coach with half a brain, maybe you come out of this Thanksgiving Day game and the results are different. Going up against some tougher teams to finish out the season, I have changed.
If they lose those two.
248-539-9797. David, what about you? Better yet, Kenny. Kenny is the Lions fan. Kenny, does this change your expectation on this team with the rash of injuries? Does the bar stay the same, or are you lowering the bar a little bit because reality's starting to kick in?
It's hard to keep the bar in the same place considering all the injuries. I mean, as much as I want to be on the hype train and say, oh, they're the best team in the NFL or the best team in the NFC, I mean, I think the Reader injury really put it over the top for me. It's like, this team banged up. We're going to have to play some big boy football now. And I don't see how they can do that with a banged up defense the way they are. Their offense will be just fine. I'm not worried about their offense.
Yeah, I mean, Decker's been out before, and they've won games.
We've seen it all of last year. It felt like they were always missing an alignment.
Yeah,
I mean, Decker's been out, but the offensive productivity when he's not there, it's down a little bit.
A little bit.
You know, you're not going to be playing the Cowboys. You're not going to be playing, bad teams where you're putting up 50, 60 points all the time.
Right.
You got to be able to stop somebody on a key third down play.
7. You have basically McNeil's the only one left from who started the season.
So, Lions fans, are your expectations still the same? Bar is still in the same place? You believe Dan Campbell and Jared Goff can lead this team to that number 1 overall seed, or are you changing things up a little bit because, well, defense not quite the same?
And this is why they can't continue to do what they did in the first half Thanksgiving, is when they get down to the damn red zone, they can't rely on Jake Bates. They got to score touchdowns.
248-539-9797. David, a couple of ticket texts.
We are going to have to rely on the offense to score 30-plus points a game and make everything a shootout. That scares me. The fact that a rookie almost took us out tells me the defense is at a critical point. Time for the offense to wake up. No, this team is coached different than any other team. They play harder than any other team. Nothing can stop them.
No, hey, that's his. I want to know because some Lions fans may feel that way. I'm not judging
Nothing
anybody.
can stop them.
Hey, David, the way this team is going, they do have a little bit of that Tiger voodoo where they're catching. It seems like they're catching every break. Heck, the end of the Thanksgiving Day game has to be voodoo because I have no idea what happened. Nobody knew what happened. Everybody was just silent like, are you kidding me? So we'll get more ticket texts. We'll get your phone calls next. 97.1.